Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's your girl Ako Yvette on the board again. Okay, so in today's video guys, I am going to be talking about the ways in which you can actually set up a business and manage it to realize whether you're making profits or losses. All right, because a lot of people really want to have a business, a lot of people really want to go into business, but they are afraid that they might end up not knowing if they are making profit or losses. And because of some common mistakes that people do, you feel discouraged in order to go into what you want to do exactly. All right, so that is why I am here in today's video to tell you how you can actually start up maybe a small business or a big business, and then you run it smoothly. Now, before I start, I want to first of all welcome all my returning subscribers. Thank you guys so much for coming back to watch my videos, and for those that are watching me for the very first time, this is Ako Yvette, and this channel is all about educational and entertaining stuffs. Okay, so like I was saying, for you to set up a business, you need to, first of all, what I will advise you to do is get a ledger. Get a piece of paper or a ledger. Now, I'll advise you to get a ledger or an exercise book. A ledger will do, because if you get a piece of paper, it might get missing. Now, if you get a ledger, a big ledger, so that you can input the things you want to sell. Now, you already have the capital, you already have the place where you want to start up the business, but you're confused. Now, this is what you will do. Write down all the things you want to sell in your shop. Write down all the things. Maybe let's take for instance, you want to sell Maggi, you want to sell exercise book, you want to sell pen, you want to sell paper, A4 paper, that is I want to say A4 paper and all the lights. Let's say you want to sell 20 items. Get a ledger, write down all the 20 items you want to sell in that shop. Now, when you finally buy these items into the shop, make sure you confirm that these items I'm having in my ledger is the same items I'm having in the shop. The same items I'm having in the shop, I have written everything down on my ledger. Okay, now when you have that, what you now do is, now the quantity you buy, takes for instance, you bought 100 Maggi. You write it down on the this on the, let's say on the 21st of January, you bought all these 20 items. You bought all of these 20 items, and then what you do is you write the quantity beside, quantity beside, quantity beside, quantity beside, and the amount you bought. All right, and the amount you bought the things with. Okay, now after writing that down, now this is what will happen. Now when you are selling, you get another book. All right, you get another book, or still you can still manage these things, or you can still manage these things in the same book. All right, you can still manage these things in the same book. Like, you write the price you bought, and then beside it you write the price you're now selling it for. Or better still, you get a second exercise book. That exercise book now is for sale. You write all the items, all right, and then you write the various prices behind that you're selling each item, the unit price. Okay, if you're selling, if you want the ones you want to sell for wholesale, you specify it beside that this is for wholesale, and you write the wholesale price. And be careful that you do not sell something on wholesale and then you end up registering it as if you sell it like one by one, or you sell it for the unit price, because it's going to get confusing. Take for instance, like in our shop, we have, when you buy at first when you buy a liter of water, a liter of supermore water, we sell one for 400 francs. But if you want to buy the one pallet, which is 6 inside, we sell it for 2,000. Now if you want to calculate 6 times 400, that will be I think that will be 2,400. Yes, yeah, I think 5 will be 2,000. That will be 2,400. All right, so you see that if you want to buy a pallet which is 6 inside, you want to buy those 6 at once, we sell it to you for 2,000 francs. But if you want to buy it one, we sell 400 francs. So be careful in a way that you will not go and register something for wholesale. You're selling something you are supposed to sell for 2,000. You register, then now at the end of the day you go and register that you sell that stuff for 400, it's going to give you 2,400, which actually you receive 2,000 because you wrote there that that stuff is for wholesale, and now you have read. So you should always specify it. If you buy maybe 10 of the or 15 of the pallet of water, what you do is, if you want to sell maybe 5, maybe you want to sell 5 for wholesale, you want to give 5 for wholesale for people that maybe want to buy, for people that maybe want to buy to sell, or to encourage others to buy. That is by placing at that moment. If you watch my previous video, I talk about trade discount. So somebody buy now in bulk at that time, you selling it, somebody buying at 6, you decide to sell it for 2,000 francs, you place a trade discount on it, because if that person was buying just one, yeah, or not up to that 6, you would have sold it for 400, which the total cost would be 2,400. But now, since the person is buying at once, okay, since the person is buying at once, you now, the 6 at once, you now place a trade discount on it by giving it, instead of 2,400, giving now for 2,000. So you make sure that you specify that this number, maybe you bought 15, make sure you specify that maybe 5 is for wholesale, and make sure that you sell that exactly 5 for wholesale. If a customer comes, you say no, the whole, if it's finished, you say no, the wholesale goods are, the ones you were supposed to give for wholesale are finished. Now, unless if you want to remove any of them and give it a wholesale, make sure you adjust it. All right, so you write it on your book that this, you bought this is that, you have your book. Another book, you write it down, or your sales book, you write it like the book, the book you're selling, you write it down, the items, and you write the price you're selling each item for. Or you, if you want to write an item that is for wholesale, specify beside that this item is for wholesale, so that you don't go and calculate something that is for wholesale, calculate as if you sell it as in unit price. All right, now when you do all these things, now I will give you another step. Now what you do is, if you can do these 2 things, the first thing you can do, if you have an assistant, okay, because it's not actually easy to write, to sell and write at the same time. It's not easy. All right, you can do this daily. Each time you sell something, you have another book. Each time you sell something, you write it beside. Maybe you sold, let me say, maybe you sold 5 Maggi, you write beside 5 Maggi sold, 5 Maggi sold for this. That's, you write the date of that day you're selling. 5 Maggi sold for this, 4 books sold for this, 10 this sold for this, 1 pen sold for this, so that at the end of the day you calculate all that you have sold, and then you compare it with the money you're having with you, to be sure that maybe in your book is showing you sold 5 Maggi, you sold 6 pens, you sold 4 bottles of water, you sold this. Maybe you calculate everything is 15,000. You now take the money that you have at hand, the cash at hand at that moment, you compare it to see that that money is equal to the money you are having in your book. Now, that you do that by writing down if you have an assistant, because it's not going to be easy. Because it's not going to be easy for you, especially if you have a shop that you have a lot of customers coming to buy. So if you don't have an assistant, you can just leave it at that point, and you put it in your mind that when you, at the end of the day, you calculate your things maybe at the end of the week. Okay, calculate your things at the end of the week. You count the ones that are left, and then you calculate how much you've sold, to see that the ones that are not, which means that you have sold them, the ones that are not, which means that you have sold them, is equal to the amount that you are having at hand. Now, another thing is, you need to have that whenever somebody buys goods on credit, you write it down. Don't just assume that you know this person, you know this person, you know this person, you know this person. If somebody buys something on credit, make sure that you write it down in that book, so that when you are calculating everything, if it's lacking 5,000, you now go into that book, you check if the amount outsiders are owing you is equal to that 5,000 that is missing. You understand? So always make sure that you have another book that you register. I want to, those people that are really that want to really have a business out there, maybe a small business, and you know nothing, you haven't gone to school to know all of these things. I'm just giving you these tips in a very, I'm breaking it down, I'm not using terms, so that I want you to understand it very well. You get another book that you know that each time you give out to customers on credit, you register it, so that at the end of the day, when you calculate everything and you see that, for instance, like I said, 5,000 is missing, you go now into that book, you check the amount customers are owing you, the amount which we call it account receivables in accounting, but I'm not going to be using those terms. Don't want to be using those terms. So you now check if those amount that the outsiders are owing you is equal to the amount that is missing. Maybe in your book it's showing that you have calculated everything, and the goods you bought is showing that you sold goods for 30,000, but now the cash you're having at hand is just 25,000. Where is the 5,000? Where did the 5,000 go to? You have to get into that book and check if the amount customers are owing you is equal to that 5,000. If it's not equal to, then you need to check another book. Now you need to create another book that anytime you take money from the company and you buy anything from outside, which is called expenditure book, you write. Now when you calculate the amount you've sold and it's not equal to the cash you're having at hand, you need to check all of these books. You need to check the book where you write people's name that are on you. You need to check the book where whenever you buy something, you write inside. So you need to also check a book, a book that when you remove money from the company and you use it, which is called drawings, you use it for your personal use. I have a video that is talking about drawings. Yeah, so you can check my videos. You're going to see that if you want to understand more about drawings. All right, so you have to also check drawings has to do with you getting money from the business to buy something that has nothing related to with the business, has nothing to do with the business. You're using it for your own personal use. That is what we call drawings. You don't need to include it in the expenditure book and so on and so forth. But you can still include it in the expenditure book, but you need to understand that it has nothing to do with the business. So I prefer you just have your drawing book that whenever you buy something for your personal use, you register it inside. So now after you have calculated all these things and you see that there is something lacking, there is money lacking, you need to get into these books that I just said. You check those that are on you. You check the book where you remove money from the company to buy things from the company. Check the drawing books to make sure that everything is in order. So in that way, you'll be able to control your business at the end of the day and determine whether you are making profit or losses. If you're taking money to go somewhere, transportation, you're taking money to go somewhere in order to do a business, do something that has to do with your business, you write it under expenditure. So you have to make sure that you register all of these things. You have a list of all what you're selling in the company. It's very, very important. It's a list of everything you're selling in the company. You have a book where you register everything that you like. You remove money and you buy things that have to do with the business. You have a book, you register it there, and you have a book that whenever you give out goods on credit, you register it there. So at the end of the day, you're going to calculate all of these things and you're going to determine whether you're making profits or losses and decide whether you're continuing with the business or not. So it's not good for you to have a business and still yet you're always in debt, you're always going out to borrow money to invest into that business. Yeah, it happens like that, and that should happen within maybe 1 or 2 years. After that, you should be able to stand up on your own and then make enough profit for yourself. You should not always be making losses. You are going to just feel discouraged because you did not get into the business to be making losses. But you have to understand that when you start a business, you will have to spend before you now start gaining. That is how it is. So my advice to everyone out there that really wants to have a business is that you should make sure that you have a list of everything. You have a book that has a list of everything you're selling in your company or in your shop, and then you write the prices of every goods you bought. All right, the purchase price, you write all the prices down. I don't want to call terms, I keep on calling. You write the prices of everything, the price of everything you bought. So if you buy maybe a packet of Maggi, you bought it for 900 francs, you should write it beside that you bought this packet of Maggi for 900 francs. All right, and you're selling it maybe for 1,000 francs. You bought a book for 150, you're selling it for 200. You write all these things down so that at the end of the day, you'll be able to calculate that, okay, I bought this book for 150, I'm selling it for 200. 200 minus 150, what is your benefit, it's 200, it's 50, sorry. So 200 minus 150, your benefit is 50, your profit is 50. Do you have the 50 at hand? Yes. So you need to calculate all those things, so that at the end of the day you'll be able to determine whether you're making profit or losses. All right. So that is just it. Even when you're the money you're taking to go to the market to buy those goods, it's called transportation or transport fare or transportation fee. You need to register it in the expenditure book. You need to register it in that book, that whenever you're going out to buy something, you register it in. So you don't have to calculate. At the end of the day, you're going to add everything to all the prices, the prices you bought those things, because it has to be part of it before you minus it and you have your profit. You don't have to leave it out. You have to leave the transport fare out, because that is also money you spend. All right. So at the end of the day, you're going to check out all of these things, in order to determine your profit. Thank you guys so much for watching. In the next video, I'm going to tell you how you can actually calculate your profit in a small business. All right, I will tell you how you can calculate your profit in a small business in the next video. So for today, I'm just giving you the tips on how you can handle your small business, and then you determine whether you're making profit or losses. Make sure you list down every items you are selling in your shop in a book. Make sure you put down the price of the goods you bought. Make sure you put down the price of the goods you are selling, and make sure you have a book that whenever you give out credit, register. Make sure you have a book that whenever you give out you remove money to spend into the or buy things to the business, you register. And or you remove money to spend it on your own personal use, you register. And another thing I want to say is you also need to have a book. You know, especially us in Cameroon, I'm talking now out of experience, what we are going through in where I am now. We have a lot of problem with change. Somebody buys something for 300 francs, he has 500, you don't have the change. Somebody buys for this and you don't have the change because of coin. What you do is you get a book that whenever you're owing a customer, you write it inside, and you have your receipt that is stamped. You give a receipt to that person that I'm owing you, sign. You give a receipt to that person that I'm owing you 200 francs. You give it out to that person, you sign. Okay, and then you write it in your book that I'm owing this person. If possible, you can even take down the person's ID card, because it's business we are talking about here. You don't joke with your business. If possible, you can take down the person's name and the person's ID number. You write. When the person comes to collect that change, because that money, the person can actually misplace it somewhere and somebody just get it and then come to collect, and then at the end of the day you start facing problem with the person, like, oh, it got missing and so on. If possible, just please, for your ID, just write down the ID number, give the small receipt you have signed with a stamp on it that I'm owing this person 200 francs to sign. When the person comes back to collect, just please, for your ID card, you check the name and the ID number, and from there you give the change and it's done. All right. So it's very important for you to know all of these things. All right, for you that want to set up the business, this will help you a lot. Thank you so much for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and please do state a comment at the comment section. Thank you so much for watching, and please do have a blessed day.